rolled in. Winds so fierce they flattened a silo, turned over a semi, and deflated fireworks stands. Power poles are down, trees uprooted, leaving behind a battered bi-state.
And we have breaking news regarding the weather in downtown St. Louis just into our newsroom. We're following a major accident on I-44 at Memorial. A semi-truck tipped over. It is blocking the entire highway. This is the westbound lanes of 44 at Memorial. We'll continue to follow this breaking news story. Good evening and thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Allred. Tonight we are in storm alert. In the aftermath of those severe storms, there are still continued threats. Right now, people from Jefferson County, Missouri to Washington County, Illinois are picking up storm debris and damage. We have team coverage tonight. Brent Solomon is live in Columbia, Illinois, one of several towns get hit hard. But first, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with your Weather First forecast. Scott.
Well, we remain in storm alert. We still have a couple of severe storms out there and certainly numerous stronger storms. One of them is right over downtown St. Louis right now. This is a live look as you look down Market Street back towards the Arch. We've had nearly continuous lightning. We just took a power hit here at the station a couple of minutes ago, and that's all been fueled by these storms across the area this afternoon, the last of which prompted a severe thunderstorm warning that includes the eastern portions of the city of St. Louis over into northern portions of St. Clair County and then across a good chunk of Madison County in Illinois. Over towards St. Jacob and in Marine, Illinois, reports of pea-size hail. It could be larger near Highland and also in this area up Highway 4 north of Marine. Technically, it looks like that cell's a little stronger there. Now, what we're seeing here in the immediate metro, right by the Arch and into the East St. Louis, that's strong winds, about 30 or 40 miles per hour, but not severe winds there. The storms that prompted a warning earlier in St. Charles, they've weakened a bit. So has that trailing storm that's moving through central portions of St. Louis County. How about the damage? A lot of it across the area. Numerous reports of trees down. The widespread, more significant damage appears to be to the south of St. Louis. Sure, we've had a few trees down in Ladue. We've had some reports of hail in Overland up towards North County, but it's really the larger hail and the widespread 60 to 70 or higher mile per hour wind gusts across far southern St. Louis County, northern Jefferson County, over into Monroe County and farther to the east that has left a large chunk of our area without power. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning, northern St. Clair County, southern portions of Madison County. How about some of this damage? In Washington County, Illinois, Julie shared this with us. This is from about Johannesburg in Washington County, near there. The steeple blew off the church and crashed onto the roof and clearly caused some damage, significant damage there. And the Cardinals postponing that game tonight. Brad Young in the parking lot trying to get out, leaving the game. Look at that cloud-to-ground lightning. We've had nearly continuous lightning in St. Louis for the last 30 minutes or so. More to come this evening. The severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 11 o'clock. We're thinking we're going to trend downward on the intensity of the storms, but we'll have more thunder through the overnight into tomorrow. And more on that in a minute.
Scott, thank you. Here is damage in Arnold, where there were reports of 70-mile-per-hour winds. It's the parking lot of the Walmart in Arnold off of Highway 61. This tractor trailer blew over on its side, and then this was a fireworks stand in the parking lot. The two men working inside said they ran into the Walmart when that tent started to tear. And then, of course, we found a lot of trees across the area down in nearby neighborhoods. The severe weather hit Monroe County hard late this afternoon. We heard multiple reports of storm damage in Columbia. And that's where we find 5 on your sides. Brent Solomon. Brent.
Well, and the cleanup process is well underway and could take some time. This storm leaving behind trees and tree limbs and front yards and even on the middle of the street here. At one point, we saw crews hard at work responding to the unexpected. And you just saw a transformer that had fallen on top of a car on Ruick Road near Main Street. All over Columbia, neighbors taking a moment to assess the damage that happened in a matter of minutes. There are downed power lines, trees uprooted, and debris sprinkled on top of roads and in front yards. We just spoke with a man who lives on Main Street. He was in his home when the storm came through.
And then I kind of looked out the front door, and it was raining so hard and blowing you couldn't see nothing. But just uprooted that tree over there. I got a limb over there on my truck, but that tree just took the top out of it and the other one down the street there.
At one point, the man you just heard from says it seemed like the whole town is without power. And that really appears to be the case. As we rode down Main Street, we noticed even businesses, fast food restaurants, and convenience stores without electricity. On top of that, right now, some 90,000 Ameren customers across Illinois, in this area specifically, are without electricity due to last night's storms and tonight's storms. We're live in Columbia. Brent Solomon, back to you.
Here's a look at some more damage in Illinois. Check out this video of a downed silo. This is in Freeburg, right near the high school. The silo appears to be empty. No reports of any injuries in that area. We also found damage and widespread power outages in the Waterloo and Smithton areas. Some businesses closed early. Traffic lights are also out in the area. If you live out this way, first responders want you to stay off the roads. Today's storms postponed the bi-state's first major fireworks display of the Independence Day holiday weekend. The JB Blast has been rescheduled for Friday, July 21st. Initially, organizers said they hoped to continue the event once storms passed, but after consulting with the National Weather Service, they decided to postpone. The rescheduled JB Blast will include a concert, food trucks, and of course, the fireworks display. The severe weather has also postponed tonight's Cardinals-Yankees game. It will be made up tomorrow as a doubleheader. Game 1 will begin at 1:15. Game 2 is set for 6:15. You can get the weather forecast sent to your phone anytime. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. State lawmakers banned local and federal governments from enforcing gun laws anywhere in Missouri. Now there's a new push for local control. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, has more on the unique coalition that's writing new permissions into the state constitution. Mark.
And shocking images of teens toting high-powered assault rifles out in the open on the streets of St. Louis, or teens storming the exits of an office building after a mass shooting, now have a retired judge and an expert criminologist advocating for change.
We still have laws. I am a former judge who believes in laws.
Judge Jimmy Edwards wore a black robe and swung a gavel from the bench of Missouri's 22nd Judicial Court for 25 years.
I understand, intimately understand, the impact of guns.
He had a front row seat as violent crime cases of all kinds came into his courtroom.
Public safety is the #1 issue in the city of St. Louis. Our local folk have no control over what is happening in their neighborhoods.
His new partner, Rick Rosenfeld, is an expert criminologist who watched what happened after Missouri relaxed and removed gun laws.
It was much easier to obtain a permit. Firearm violence in the state increased.
Rosenfeld cited a study from Johns Hopkins that found convincing evidence constitutional gun regulations can reduce violent crime.
The same researchers did a study in the state of Connecticut, and where the reverse process took place, where the gun laws were strengthened and gun violence declined.
Now, the judge and expert criminologist are pairing up in a nonprofit called Sensible Missouri, asking voters to approve a new ballot question in 2024.
I think it's fair to assume that the needs of many Missourians who live in sparsely populated rural counties are not quite the same when it comes to firearm regulation as the needs of residents of the city of St. Louis or St. Louis County or Kansas City or Jackson County.
If they can muster at least 170,000 signatures across the state, one of 3 proposed questions could appear on your ballot next year, allowing local counties to add gun safety measures if they choose to.
This is not stop and frisk. This does not take away your guns. This is a simple opportunity to allow local legislative bodies to address a problem if they believe there's a problem in their community.
One proposal to require a concealed carry permit, for example, could give police more legal standing to confront kids carrying guns out in the open in St. Louis. Sensible Missouri just filed paperwork. They still have a long way to go before they get that question on your ballot.
Tomorrow, local organizations will rally together to stop the deadly violence plaguing the city's youth. They're holding a brainstorming and resource session from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is at Harris-Stowe State University in the main auditorium. The organizations want parents, guardians, neighbors, teachers, and community leaders to attend. Tonight, 2 St. Louis schools are about to become independent, breaking away from the Archdiocese of St. Louis. St. Mary's Southside and Rosati Kane Academy were set to close as part of the All Things New plan. Both schools will now be run by their Catholic sponsors. Today, 5 on Your Side spoke with the school's presidents, who say they're excited about the flexibility of some curriculum changes.
We have been revising many of our policies, procedures. We are innovating our curriculum.
Being our own entity now is going to allow us to have the freedom to try some new things. One of the things that we're tremendously excited about is our new pre-apprenticeship program that we're adding to our curriculum that will start this coming year.
To celebrate, St. Mary's Southside will have a big block party tomorrow on campus. Rosati Kane Academy will have a picnic at the end of next month.
Biden blocked. The Supreme Court rules against his student loan forgiveness plan, the president's plan to battle back. Plus, less than 3 hours until a tax increase in Illinois.
And we remain in storm alert tonight. Severe thunderstorm off to the east of St. Louis, northern St. Clair County and southern portions of Madison County. Hail and maybe some gusty winds 50 to 60 miles per hour. We're back.
Tonight, President Biden responding to this.
I believe the court's decision to strike down my student debt relief program was a mistake, was wrong.
Tonight, President Biden responding to the Supreme Court's ruling against his student loan forgiveness plan. The court's conservative majority ruled 6-3 that the president went too far without congressional approval, moving to cancel more than $400 billion in debt. The administration had argued it was legal to let some 43 million eligible borrowers cancel up to $20,000 under a statute regarding national emergencies like the pandemic. Biden is now working on alternatives to deliver on a campaign promise.
To provide student debt relief to as many borrowers as possible, as quickly as possible. That's why we're creating a temporary 12-month, what we're calling on-ramp repayment program.
The Education Department announced loan repayments will resume in October, but interest will begin accruing in September. Payments have been on hold since the start of the pandemic more than 3 years ago. In a separate significant case today, the High Court ruled in favor of a Christian web designer who wanted to reject same-sex wedding clients. The majority decided that as a creative professional, Lori Smith's First Amendment rights shielded her from punishment under Colorado's anti-discrimination law. Opponents warned a win for her would allow a range of businesses to discriminate against customers. Yesterday, the Supreme Court overturned race-based affirmative action in higher education. Many people are wondering if colleges and universities are now required to ignore all references to race in admissions. Ariane Daytil verifies.
In cases involving Harvard and the University of North Carolina, the Supreme Court struck down race-based affirmative action in college admissions, ending a nearly 60-year history of using race as a factor in creating more diverse student bodies.
The court ultimately decided that the admissions processes at both schools are unconstitutional. In the court's majority opinion, Chief Justice John Roberts said that for too long, university admissions boards have relied too heavily on a person's race over their skills and the challenges they've overcome in determining who to admit. So let's verify. Are colleges now required to ignore all references to race in the admissions process? Our sources are Students for Fair Admissions, Inc. versus President and Fellows of Harvard College, Students for Fair Admissions, Inc. versus University of North Carolina, and Ben Barton, a distinguished professor of law at the University of Tennessee College of Law. The court's decision prohibits colleges and universities from using race as a determining factor in their admissions process. But in the court's ruling, Chief Justice John Roberts also says nothing in this opinion should be construed as prohibiting universities from considering an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise.
Which is confusing. Can race be discussed or not? So we called up constitutional law expert Ben Barton.
He says Roberts' opinion means that schools aren't completely banned from considering race, but it puts the burden on the applicants.
If a student wants to write an essay about how they've suffered from racial discrimination and how they've grown from that, they're allowed to do that, and the university is allowed to read that, and the university is allowed to say, well, that seems like a good reason to let this person into the university.
So we can verify, no. The Supreme Court ruling does not require colleges to ignore all references to race in college admissions.
It still allows colleges to consider race if it is brought up by an applicant as part of a personal experience, like a personal essay. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
What can we verify for you? Please email us. The email address, verify@kstk.com. St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman's office confirms he will not seek another term in 2026. Ellman was unopposed last fall and is serving his 5th term as county executive. He was first elected in 2007. He held public office in the Missouri House, Senate, and courts for more than 30 years. Ellman plans to serve out the remainder of his 4-year term. Starting tomorrow, it will be a little more expensive to buy groceries and gas in Illinois. State tax exemptions from last year expire on July 1st. For groceries, it's about a 1% tax increase. Gas will cost about 3 cents more per gallon. We've posted more information on the tax increases on KSTK.com. Look for this story under the As Seen on TV section. We remain in storm alert right now as we saw severe storms roll through late this afternoon. Many of our viewers sent in pictures of the hail. Look at that one. The pictures come from House Springs, Oakville, Arnold, Columbia, Illinois, and Herrin, Illinois. Thank you to all of our viewers and weather spotters. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joining us again with the Weather First forecast. That unbelievable lightning behind you. Plus, we've got to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, we have to talk about tomorrow because we have another round of showers and thunderstorms on the way for tomorrow. But this is just amazing, the amount of lightning we're seeing. You know, that storm that went through in St. Clair County over into Washington County, the one that produced the widespread wind damage, that one, and even northern portions of Monroe County, that one at one point was producing more than 1,000 lightning strikes every 15 minutes. Incredible. And we still have quite the fireworks show from Mother Nature tonight. Now, one thing you notice here, you don't see any yellow polygons on the radar screen. Okay, all of the warnings have been allowed to expire or they've been canceled, so that's good news. We still have some strong thunderstorms, though, across the area, particularly going east of St. Louis right now. These storms along Interstate 64, Madison County, stretching up towards Collinsville and over towards Troy, they could still be producing some small hail and maybe some brief gusty winds. There's another cell here that's working its way right across far north to St. Louis City and working along Interstate 70. And so you saw that accident there, 44, the old section looked like of 70, they're backing up downtown St. Louis. So again, one of those things where wet roads, ponding on the roads. We do have a flood advisory for the city, parts of St. Louis County. It just came too fast and furious. And then there are areas that are still yet to see a drop, but a lot of spots getting quite the light show. As you get out here along Interstate 70 in Madison County, that's where we have seen some of those intense storms. One little cell here is just north of the Boom Bridge, and it's starting to weaken a bit. Lambert actually had some hail. There's a little bit up towards Bowling Green. As far as rainfall amounts, in St. Louis County, we go from 0 to some spots having 2 or more inches of rain. Right now, the airport has come in just within the last half hour with 0.07 of an inch total for the day, and that's it. And we know there's spots that have had much more than that. We haven't really had many reports as far as rainfall amounts this evening, to be honest. So you can see the ring of fire here stretching all the way from Nashville to Evansville, back into St. Louis, then around to Kansas City. We do think we'll get a little bit of a break here as we wait for the low-level jet to pick up later tonight. That low-level jet is taking the hot, steamy air that's down to our south and will lift it over the rain-cooled air that's here. Heat index right now, Cape Girardeau's 98. So there's plenty of juice down to the south. Severe thunderstorm watch, that's set to expire at 11 o'clock tonight. There's a small chance it might get extended a little longer, but odds are what we see will fade that's out there right now between now and midnight. But then as we head towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, we do expect to see more scattered showers and thunderstorms, a little more widespread across the area. So a better chance for more of us to see rain. Now, it may not be as much as you need because most of us need rainfall. We are extremely dry, and we'll have to see what we get tonight. Tomorrow morning, we probably settle down, and then as we heat up tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, potentially we do this again with more strong to severe thunderstorms that could be possible. And yes, the risk is a level 3 out of 5 right now. Storm Prediction Center is working on the new analysis, looking at the new models right now, and we'll get an update on that forecast a little after 1 in the morning. 78 degrees with nearly continuous lightning and thunder around St. Louis. Noisy night. Don't think we're going to drop much more than where we are right now. We should hold in the low to mid 70s in the rain-cooled air. If you haven't seen rain tonight, your temperatures are even warmer. Tomorrow, back into the low and mid 90s. Variably cloudy. Chances for showers and thunderstorms first thing in the morning, then again later in the day into tomorrow night. On Sunday, we'll still have a storm chance. Doubtful we'll see much on Monday. Most of Tuesday should be dry. Your 4th of July, though, back into the 90s. Going to be a long night for a lot of folks and a long night for those power crews that have really had a tough couple of days here.
Yeah, those winds were very fierce. Scott, thank you. Corey, what's coming up in sports?
Well, Ann, no baseball tonight, but I did catch up with a former Cardinal turned Yankee. The Blues have some contract news ahead of prospect camp, and City SC is looking for revenge. Sports is up next.
And we continue to follow the breaking news. This is in downtown St. Louis on Highway 44. 2 tractor trailers caused a crash. We do not know if it's weather related, but it was raining very hard at the time. Westbound I-44 is currently closed here at Memorial due to this crash. We do not know what these semis were carrying. We're looking into that. No word on when the highway will reopen, but traffic is backed up all the way to the Stan Musial Bridge.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes it rains. At least it wasn't another loss for the Cardinals tonight against the Yankees. Tonight's game was scrapped due to the weather. They'll play 2 tomorrow at 1:15 and 6:15. Harrison Bader will have to wait a bit longer to make his return to Busch Stadium. I caught up with the Yankee center fielder earlier today, who has become a bit of a star in his home of New York. But before he even showed up to Busch Stadium this weekend, Bader was at the hospital, giving back to his former home of St. Louis.
You know, being a part of making some kids' day a little bit better in any fashion. We did some really, really nice things. Was really my goal, just to kind of focus on them and give them some time. So that was a wonderful experience. And yeah, for tonight, I'm just happy to be back on the field. A little different being over here, but I am very, very happy to be back in St. Louis. There's so much love here.
The Reds weren't rained out today. In fact, they won another wild one. Matt McClain tied the game with a 2-run bomb in the 10th, and then Spencer Steer won the game with a 2-run bomb in the 11th. The Reds are now 10 games up on the last place Cardinals.
This 5 on your side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Here's hoping tomorrow night is a dry one at City Park. First place City SC welcomes in last place Colorado, looking to make it 2 wins in a row for the first time in a month. The first time these two teams played, it resulted in the first tie in City SC history, with keeper Roman Berkey needing to make a season-high 12 saves. The team knows their all-star goalie is a stud, but would like to make things a little bit easier on him this time around.
The last game didn't go our way totally. We took a point there. We could have won it. Yeah, we have a couple of wrongs to right there from that game. And I said those games were months ago, right? So now we're totally different mentality, totally different mindset. We've been consistent, even although we have a stretch of games where it might not go our way. But in the bigger, larger picture, we've been consistent collecting points, and that's all I can ever ask from my group.
Prospect camp opens tomorrow for the Blues, and today they locked up a guy who used to be a prospect. Tyler Tucker has a new 2-year, one-way contract extension worth $800,000 a year. The 28-year-old defenseman brings some toughness to the team and has 4 points in 26 NHL games. It's been a nice 24 hours for Mizzou recruiting. Yesterday, Dennis Gates reeled in T.O. Barrett, a 4-star guard from Oklahoma. And today, Eli Drinkwitz got a commitment from Francis Howe receiver Jude James. He's a 3-star recruit and big-time athlete, continuing that Viking to Tiger pipeline. Well, one of our big-time basketball products had the shot of the night in the WNBA last night. Incarnate Word's Nafisa Collier sank this last-second shot in overtime to carry Minnesota over Seattle. Collier is currently the 2nd leading scorer in the entire WNBA. And that will do it for sports tonight.
Corey, thank you. We'll be right back and update that breaking news, the crash on Highway 44. We continue to follow that breaking news on I-44. Lots of emergency response vehicles on the scene. You can see at the very Bottom of the screen there, a tractor trailer completely on its side. Then we have emergency vehicles. We're told 2 tractor trailers were involved in this crash on westbound 44. This is near Memorial, right downtown behind the old hotel that's now closed with the revolving restaurant, if you remember the Omni. This is where that's happening. So westbound 44 is closed. We're told that traffic is backed up at least to the Musial Bridge. We do not know when this will be cleaned up. We're told one of these tractor trailers was carrying a load of paint. So we're not sure if they're going to have to bring out additional crews to try and remedy that. But we will continue to follow this breaking news story online, on air, and of course on our app. Scott, let's get a final check.
Yeah, we're still looking at a lot of lightning around St. Louis and off to the east, especially as these storms move away. So right now you're looking at storms. They're not severe, but they're still strong here along the Madison-St. Clair County line and then stretching now south of Greenville and over Carlisle Lake. That activity with lots of lightning as well, but not severe. There'll be more overnight tonight. We're leaving the radar and the cameras and the weather info scrolling on 5+ overnight, so you can tune in anytime and find out the latest on what's going on.
Thank you for joining us for 5 on Your Side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.